Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. And yes, I look extremely disheveled. I just got out of this crazy wind-blown rain, and it was just absolutely crazy. So sorry I don't have a hat. Is what it is. You'll get over it. Thank God you're not here based on what I look like. That being said, man, that was windy out there. Holy Toledo. Oh my goodness, that was windy out there. So anyway, lots of fun and good times here in Landlord land. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was stop. Do the right thing. Don't be that landlord. So as you guys know, what I like to do is I like to spend some of my time giving back to young landlords. And so we obviously do this show for real estate investors. We obviously do this show for potential landlords. And while that's fine and dandy, I also, don't have time to do shows all the time during the week. So a lot of times I will, when a kid falls asleep on me or something like that, so I don't fall asleep and then can't sleep that night, I'll respond to some message board stuff. And I'll do it on Facebook, and I'll do it in the Section 8 landlord groups, or I'll do it in some of these other groups. And so this one complete pinhead actually posts advice. You should stop posting advice. You're a bonehead. Stop. You're awful at this. And every single time this guy posts something, sadly, that's the thing that I see. And he is a nightmare of a landlord. He could not hit water if he fell out of a boat. His actual advice to people was do cash for keys. You're a jerk. You're a jerk. Don't do cash for keys. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is often doing the right thing can be expensive. It just can. And what you have to think about is, how would you like it if somebody dropped that on you? So what I'm specifically talking about is this complete, pathetically horrible landlord was all about advertising that he does cash for keys. Yeah, just to get him out, I give him cash for keys. And then he uses all of the things that are at his disposal. An eviction is going to go on your record, and then I'm going to take the debt and I'm going to sell it. And all the stuff, we use all those same things. We tell them the truth. We tell them exactly what the process is going to be. I don't want them to be surprised. I want them to know exactly what the process is going to be. Man, I got like some major Doc Brown going on here. But yeah, it was that windy outside tonight and that crazy wet. Anyway, so the problem that I have is that when you give a bad tenant cash for keys just to get them out, you suck as a landlord. And if you don't like it, don't watch. You suck as a landlord if you give cash for keys. If you did that early on in the process because you didn't really understand the ramifications, I can let that go. But after this video, you are on warning. You should know better. Why would you give your tenant one that has run up a bill against you, one that has probably ruined your apartment, one that's been a constant concern ongoing, and you are going to reward the fact that they just proverbially smacked their sister? Like, unacceptable. Unacceptable. That's not how we do this. We don't reward bad behavior. What are you doing? What are you even doing? You should not be a landlord. Don't do that. And so one of the things that I was stuck with, right, when I almost went bankrupt as a landlord, happened when the Great Recession hit and we went from 8 paying tenants to 3 paying tenants to 1 paying tenant. As you can imagine, I just save up money to evict people because we were brand new landlords, or I was a brand new landlord, and I didn't have a ton of money. I didn't have that much money in reserve. You have enough money in reserve to like take care of a repair or, $8,000 to $10,000 to take care of a roof. I got bad news. When you go from 8 tenants to 1 paying, that reserve goes poof in a month. It goes poof in a month. You're done. You're cooked. And so my option was, what was I supposed to do? I could find a way to get loans and bail them out and or just say, hey, just leave. I'll sign this release form. Just leave. And they actually offered. They were like, hey, if you just promise not to sue us, if you promise to let our balance go, we'll just leave. Guys, professional tenants, that's what they look like. That's what they look like. Don't do that. Don't do that. And here's why. If I'm the landlord today, the guy that I am today, the landlord that I am today, and I offered somebody cash for keys, because I can stroke a check for $5 grand, $8 grand, 10 grand, whatever. If I did that, what's that say about me? As just being a jerk trying to get them out of my hair, regardless of who the next problem is going to land on. How is that right for any of the small landlords out there? How is that the right thing to do? Hey, I care far more about myself. I don't give two S's about you. I don't care. Take a flying leap. I don't care if this guy is going to be your problem. Because then what happens? That other tenant, to that other landlord, they don't have an eviction on their record, so they can't find it. Most states will show you the eviction. They won't show you a lot of other stuff. So they've got nothing to go on. So the landlord does their background check and they see that they have a deposit, because obviously they have a deposit. They haven't paid the other rent in months. And you think it's the right thing to do. And that's why, and again, they're not going to use you as a reference. They're going to use their buddy as a reference. What do you think? You're so diabolically smart that you think that they're not going to use a fake reference? How dumb are you? Like, that's what I want to say to this guy. He's a jerk. And when you do that to somebody else, when you knowingly are putting somebody else in harm's way, you're selfish and you should not be a landlord. You should not be doing this if you're selfish like that. Like I said, I understand if you might have done it in the past and you didn't have clarity on what exactly that meant, but I would never, ever feel right about getting rid of a tenant and not following through with eviction. At the very least, follow through with eviction. At the very least. And if you're investing in an area where evictions are too hard, then stop investing there. You're the problem. The problem is that if we do the right thing, if we do the right thing by our neighbor, if we do the right thing by our fellow landlord, and quite frankly, if we do the right thing for the tenant, if you put an eviction on their record, they earned it. They earned it. Do not do that to another landlord. Do not put somebody else in that position. Do not blow somebody else up like that. This is sad because I know that I've said things that have offended people. We went from 30 people to 11. And you know what? Fine. Whatever. Don't do that. That's a weak move. That's weak. Weak. So I would encourage you all, even though sometimes it costs you, let's face the facts. Maybe somebody already did that to you and you just think the right thing is to pass it on to somebody else. Number one. Number two, even if somebody did do that to you, do you think it's the right thing to do to pass them on to the next person that way? Even if you can prove that that's exactly what happened to you? No, stop the cycle. Guys, do you realize there's a reason why I don't want people that have been evicted before, because they know the process and they take advantage of it. That's what I don't like. Okay. I provide a clean, safe home for an agreed to price. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to pay that bill. And when you don't pay that bill, there are consequences. You don't get to live here anymore. And you get told, and we get to tell everybody else legally, you are a deadbeat and you don't pay your bills. Don't put another landlord in that position. Imagine what it was like for your first house, for your second, for your third. Imagine what that would have been like. Imagine if you would have lost 2, 3, 4 months of revenue. And because this person was a professional tenant and literally placed in your lap. But the last guy, why do professional tenants exist? They exist and they get cash for keys. It's because they work with landlords like that dope who literally gives cash for keys. Guys, that's not the right way to do it. That's not the right way to do it. Do it the right way. Don't do that to another landlord. Don't let a tenant be rewarded for not paying another landlord. And then what the system does, the market then takes care of itself. Instead of professional tenants, easy for me to say, being passed on landlord to landlord to landlord to landlord, where there's no record of any of this. They get in, they move in, they pay their deposit in cash, they pay their first month's rent in cash, their second month is late. And they may or may not pay. And if they don't pay, guess what? They're going to try and be in an area or in a state or in a city that doesn't allow winter evictions. So they're going to get to stay there all winter long with heat. They're going to be able to stay as long as they want. And then come the springtime, the landlord's going to be so tired and want them out so badly that he's going to write them a check for more than a month's rent. And what are they going to do? They're not going to take that check. They're going to say, I want cash. And then they're going to use that cash to be the deposit in the next place. And they're going to live the next place for 5 to 6 months for free. That's not the right thing, guys. That you're not doing the right thing for the community. You're not doing the right thing for your fellow landlords. You're not doing anything for their fellow humans. That's not the right thing to do. You wouldn't like it dropped on you, so don't drop it on somebody else. So I would encourage you, even though it's expensive, be financially prepared to take this to the limit. And if you're in an area that's that tough to evict people, don't invest in that area. It's fairly straightforward. Do not treat as you would want to be treated. That's it. Treat others as you would want to be treated. Don't do that. And if I see you put that in a post and I know who you are, I'm going to light you up. And if I see you put that in a post and I don't know who you are, I'm going to light you up. This guy in the Section 8 landlord group was a joke. And the advice that he gives is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. You know, it's absolutely terrible. And he is going to, if you listen to his advice, there is a high likelihood you will end up in court. There is a high likelihood that you will end up becoming a professional defendant or a professional plaintiff. We don't want that. We want to provide a service to our community, which is renting out properties for those that cannot afford to buy them. We don't choose whether they can afford or not to buy something. That's their choice. What our choice is that do we want to provide a service that meets people where they're at and allows them to rent something that they've earned the opportunity to rent? It's just that simple. That's the way it goes. So I'll jump into the comments now, but man, that pisses me off. Yeah, I was not excited. I was very upset when I saw that guy post that, and I wanted to absolutely light him up, and I did. And don't be surprised if I CC or if I do a @ sign for a bunch of you or a hashtag sign for a bunch of you and I put you in there, because I want you to see what other people are posting. We do not create wealth by doing the wrong thing. We don't. We don't do that. I don't do that. I don't want you doing that. Because you know what? Even though some things have cost us, dearly, we at least handled the opportunity with honor. And now we have a reputation in our area that when we get in front of a judge, they know it's real. When we get in front of a judge, they know that we are on the right side of it. 24-0. Not only am I 24-0, I'm also 3-0 in my last 3 variance hearings. That's stuff that we teach in the course because I can't teach that here. But that's stuff that we teach in the course. We talk about variances and how to get approvals and all that good stuff. So anyway, I digress. Let's jump into questions. Jack Stewart. Hey, Jack Stewart. Hey, everyone. Just finished up the accountability meeting early, so all of us could make it here in time for the main event. Thank you very much, Jack. I appreciate that. Now it's time for some donkey chokey pumpkin chuckin'. I like that. That sounds good. It's pumpkin pie season, kids. It is pumpkin pie season. Jason Calasabetta. Hello, sir. Jack. Stop eating pumpkin pie. Sorry, not sorry. Must eat them all. That's true. I concur. Wolfmaster82, good to see you. Robert, good to see you as well. BuzzTune, always great to see you. Great. Glad you guys had a great meeting. Jack's got a fantastic accountability meeting. Jared has a fantastic accountability meeting with all of the different folks that you work with. So when you watch Dion, when you watch Millennial Mike, when you watch Zoo, when you watch me, we all have accountability groups that, quite frankly, we just tell you we know they're all good. So we just tell you, get in the one that meets your needs. Maybe it's old REI guy, Frank's group. Maybe it's Jared Osham. I think it's Oshambine. I always mess his last name up, so I apologize, Jared. But maybe it's Jared Oshimbine's group. Maybe it's Robert Farinelli and Landlord Odyssey Redion and Ned Talks group on Tuesdays. There's all these great groups to be in. Do these accountability groups. They're important. We want you guys building community. There's a reason for that, because we want myself and Mike and Dion, we want to help the next generation create the next generation of us, and so on and so on and so on. That's how it continues to live on, and people start doing this thing and they do it even better. That's what we want to see. Chris Culp, good evening, sir. Laura Samaniego, good evening to you as well. Wealth Building Journey, good to see you. Chester, do you post the Michael Jordan gift? Stop it, get some help. I probably should post the Michael Jordan gift. One guy said that about me in a lawsuit, and then I won. I was like, see, even the guy in the complaint, he knew. Good stuff. Master Coach University, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're back. Steven, hey, everyone. Awesome meeting, Jack. I'm glad you guys are doing that meeting. That is fantastic news. I want to see that. I want to see you guys continue to band together, share ideas. Obviously, for me right now, my season is crazy. We're trying to finish the jail project. We're trying to finish a project, a 5-unit that we just got approval on. There's a rehab. It's just a rehab, so we're not doing anything more there. But yeah, we're just going to town and just trying to finish these projects. We're doing the community house. Holy cow, is that going to blow you guys away? Here's what's really funny. I haven't been there in 2 weeks. Oh, rehabs are so hard. Nope, you're doing it wrong. They're not so hard. I've seen it. I've done them. I'm doing one right now for you. All in, I'm 13 and a half hours. And I can see the finish line. We're 13 and a half hours away, and I can see the finish line because literally the last hour that I've spent has not been there at all. It's been just text messages. Think about that. An hour and 2 weeks. 2 weeks worth of progress with 1 hour. With 1 hour worth of text messages. It's just that simple, guys. I'll show you. We're going to go look at the project. I'm a little bit nervous. Won't lie. We're going to go look at the project together. We're going to see how far we've gotten. But I know a lot of stuff I know a lot of stuff. I know you guys won't recognize it. I saw a picture of the outside. I was like, holy cow, that looks awesome. So it looks completely different. So I'm excited to do that for you guys. Jack Stewart, congratulations on having such a good meeting. Robert Crimson, LOL, this rain is nothing. I'd try hiking in this weather. Yeah, well, it was at night. It was dark, and it was more than a tinkle sprinkle. It was a little bit heavier than that where we were. And I'd gone outside in just a shirt and no jacket. And I was in my office doing paperwork, prepping for this town meeting, and didn't realize it was raining outside. So I walk outside and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's raining. And it's raining a little bit more briskly. And then I had to walk to the hotel, to the town hall. So it's fine. Don't cry for me, Argentina, but wasn't what I was expecting. And it was also super windy. Big, huge gust of wind trumped my hair. It's kind of crazy. Looking like a Greek god. Yeah, thanks, Angel. Jack Stewart. Mike Butler wrote oh man, that just moved. Mike Butler wrote a chapter on this topic in his book. I really like what he says on handling fake references. I'm still here. That's all that matters. Let's eat pie and be awesome together. I agree. I concur. Trey Better 99, smash the like button. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Matt is being offensive tonight, back in proper form. I know, true. I was pissed when I saw what that guy wrote, and then he's like coming at me. I was like, hey, dude, why don't you know who you're talking to first? Here's one thing I don't know about you. You don't have unit count. That's one thing I know about you. Second thing I know about you, don't worry. I'm not going to sweat you because in 5 years, you're done. You're gone. You're bankrupt because no one survives playing the game like that. No one survives playing dirty. No one survives not caring about their other landlords. No one survives this game without community. You don't. You just don't. Jack Stewart, treated as such. I agree, sir. Chris Culp, liking. Thank you, sir. Tenants are employees. Yeah, I think they largely are. I mean, I think the difference is that your employees don't pay you to show up. But I think, so I don't look at them necessarily as employees. What I do look at them as is without them, I'm not a landlord. Without me, they don't have a home. And so there always has to be, I have a level of respect for my tenants until they prove to me that they don't deserve respecting. And there are people that don't deserve respecting. If you yell at my wife when she makes a call because your rent's late, guess what? You don't want to talk to me, pal. You don't. Be nice. I have an idea. Be gracious. Maybe say you're sorry because you're not living up to your end of the deal. Yeah, maybe do that. Yep. That's what I would recommend. 3 credits. Hey, 3 credits. Good to have you on the channel. Hi, Matt. Eviction hearing scheduled for next week. Tenant is trying York. Tenant is trying York it out. If we decide to, work it out. Tenant's trying to work it out. If we decide to work it out, should we still see the judge to get the workout on record? Yes. 1000% yes. And if you do work it out only on the court accepted documents. There's a document that the court creates, which is a landlord-tenant agreement. You both need to have it very plain English. I've seen a judge send people back to a room 5 times because they wrote such a bad agreement. He's like, you're going to be back here in 2 weeks. This agreement doesn't state the issues. And he's like, and I can't write it for you. And just so you know, judges are ex-lawyers, or they're still lawyers technically. So what I would recommend to you is try to craft something, work with them beforehand, but say, I still need you to show up at court that day because whatever we work out, we're going to put before the judge and have the judge sign it and then agree to it. Because what's really cool about that is that you can have an agreement on what things are going to be moving forward and how they're going to make up for the back rent that they haven't paid. The key to it is you want it to say, I don't know what's allowed in your state, but what's allowed in our state is if at any time any part of this agreement is not followed through by either party, because let's face it, it's either party, but it's largely on them because it's them having to pay you. We will get a writ of possession. That's the way that we write them in our state. And that way, if they default, we file non-compliance, that day or the next day. We file non-compliance if they didn't follow through, and that gets in front of the judge, and that's it. We get the writ of possession, and there it goes. If they mess up and they don't live to the letter of the law that they're signing and they're agreeing to, just don't make the mistake. Do it on that court paperwork. Make sure that you're showing up to still showing up to court. Number 2, and number 3, make sure that the judge, that they call them the court as well. Make sure the court or the judge sign off on that as well, and then manage them to it. Workout. Sorry, no problem. I got you, my man. He sounds like half of the Bigger Pockets people that I can't stand. Yeah, true story. I don't know what Bigger Pockets teaches because I didn't learn from Bigger Pockets. I learned trial and error. I took the long way around the mountain. But I created a bunch of systems and processes that make it very profitable for me to run the business now. So it was much more expensive. It was much slower in the beginning. It was much more painful in the beginning. My first 10 years were like most people's first 5 years. 10 years. My first 10 were like your first 5. They were awful. And then it gradually started to get really good. And then when it got really good, then it got really, really good. And then it just continued to snowball. And now it's just a good old time. Let's see. Robert Farinelli. Now imagine if it was your first or second property and then an eviction moratorium happens. That's exactly right, guys. That's exactly right. Robert hits the nail on the head. That could be something that sinks you. And I can tell you there were plenty of people that were just like, oh yeah, we're waiting on our assistants. We're waiting on our assistants. I know people that were waiting on $100,000 in back rent. $100,000. I mean, maybe I've got that in my other pants, but not in the pants that I'm wearing now. That's a KO. That knocks you out. Michelle Meyer, good to see you, Michelle, as always. Oh, by the way, thanks for the huge shout out last week. Jack, my pleasure. Fellow pie eater, real estate investor, hockey lover. Hey, Josh Coster. It's been a forever time. Glad I was able to catch this night. Josh, I'm super excited. Drop me a line. I want to know what's going on with all that we talked about. Love to hear it. Jack Stewart, Frank is awesome. Everyone is awesome. Yeah, all these guys are really good. Yeah, community is unity. I totally agree with that. Guys, this is a tough thing to do. And when people are like, oh, the real estate investing game, it's not a game. It's not a game. It's not a game. There is nothing else out there that's a game like this is called that can financially devastate you for the rest of your lives. This is not a game. This is contact sports. You have to make sure that you have community. You have to make sure that you know what the rules are. If you're not sure, reach out and ask somebody. Pick up the phone. And you have people that you can pick up the phone to. Do this. Do this. Eddie B. Truckin'. Good evening, all. Good evening, Eddie. Good to see you, my friend. Wealth Building Journey. Pay close attention to what Matt said. Get into an accountability group that suits you best. Not doing so would be only doing yourself a disservice. Thank you very much for the super chat, Chester. I really appreciate that. And Chester is dead on. Guys, it hurts you. It hurts you. Listen to other people. Find other investors where you are. Like, guys, this is so important, especially if you remote invest. Oh my goodness, it's even more important. It's even more important if you remote invest. I'm telling you, you need to make sure. You guys have heard Zoob talk about it. When was the last time he was in Fresno? 2.5 hours away. When was the last time he was there? Like twice in the last 4 years? If he didn't have an amazing team, he'd be in deep trouble. He would be in deep trouble. But he spent the time in the beginning, every single weekend, there for multiple days, looking at properties, looking at areas. He formed all those relationships. And now he's getting the rewards and the benefits of that now 15 and 20 years later. That's big. That's big. And Zub and I have been doing it for, I think he's at 24 years. I think he's at 24 years and I'm at 22 or 23. So, like I would tell you, this is important. Community. Hey, Joe Aiello. Good to see you too. Matt, hope you're doing well. It's been a while. It's been forever, Joe. And I'm doing really well. Unbelievably crazy busy. I'm so glad I don't have a real job anymore. I'm so glad I'm not having to, work for the man. Because I don't know how I do all this stuff at the same time because I've taken in a lot of my kids' activities. My number 3, we just got to do Thanksgiving in her classroom. That was a lot of fun. Pretty sure the only 2 dads that were there other than me, pretty sure they don't have jobs. There might be Manny's. That's a funny phrase. Eddie B. Truckin', the good thing about those kinds of landlords is that real operators will be able to scoop up the property after they fail. That is very true. Eddie, you couldn't be more right. The challenge that you have is that they're going to throw off shrapnel for quite some time. I took over a building. I bought a building. In fact, it was one that I was the one that I've been working through issues with the town on. But I bought a building and it was disgusting. It was disgusting. 4 out of the 5 of those tenants I would never rent to again. Ever. The place was disgusting. It was a blight on the neighborhood. And we're going to spend $250,000. $250,000 to make this place unbelievable again. And we're well into it. We've already spent, we've already spent a lot of money. We've already spent probably half. Probably spent $125,000 or so. And now we're down to insulation, sheetrock, windows, flooring, and kitchens is basically what we're down to. Because we've done all the hard stuff. But yeah, holy cow. It's incredible. It's absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, Eddie's exactly right. Flavio Macias, hello from Washington. Good to see you, sir. Wealth of Rental, Matt, the home inspectors being morons. Would you still consider hiring a home inspector to buy a property? No, I would not. Nope, I don't. That's one of the things that we teach in our course. Our course. Well, my wife and I learn the lessons together. But that's one of the things we teach in the course. Here's how you get the best home inspection you could possibly get. No joke. That bad home inspection that I got last week, that sticks with the house. You know what I have to do? I have to go pay for my own inspection. No joke. That's what I'm doing. I'm literally going to be there tomorrow. Bought my own inspection. And I said, I want you to go into this eyes wide open. I want to make sure you know why I'm hiring you. I am hiring you because the previous inspector sucked. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a complete moron. And quite frankly, if he had a license, which he doesn't, they should rip up his certificate because that's all he has. And he's not good at what he does. He wasn't good at what he does. On almost every line, it was follow up with an expert, follow up with an expert. What am I paying you for, jerk? What am I paying you for? What is the buyer paying you for? To be inaccurate? We showed that they were factually inaccurate in 2 areas, and the 3 areas that we know that they were inaccurate was technically opinion, but it was more also like, if you know anything about this stuff, you're wrong. But the 2 areas that were fact, they didn't update their report. They didn't update their report. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Hold on 1 quick second. I just got to make sure I know what this noise is. see here. I'm pretty sure that's my wife. Sorry, just double checking. Making sure one of my kids isn't up out of bed playing upstairs. Rascals. All right. Given that with their written report, you can have a negotiation power with a seller, and the inspection may pay you to back more. No, so I'm going to use pros. I'm going to use pros because now it's not opinion. Now it's not, well, I was in a certification class and they told me if this is doing this, then this is what this is. I have an idea. Undo those 4 bolts. Take a look at it, and you tell me what you're actually seeing. I can't do that. Right. You don't have a license to do that. Right. But you're saying to go talk to somebody that does have a license. I have an idea. Why don't I just cut out the stupid ass middleman? Let's do that. Let's get rid of the guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's get rid of the guy that has a certificate and not a license. I like to work with licensed people. There's a reason they earned the license. They've done the time. If you're a plumber in my area and you're a master plumber, I know that you've got a minimum of 10,000 hours in the field. 10,000 hours, 5 years. If you're a master electrician, same. 10,000 hours, 5 years. And I think the requirement, I want to say the requirement is, I think it's 1,000 hours of classwork, or maybe 500 hours of classwork. It's a big number. Now, I want them in the field. I also want them in the classroom. But I want licensed guys. I'm not depending on some home inspector who has a certificate, because they're not all created equal. The guys that I hire as inspectors are guys that have a minimum of 10 years of construction experience. They built houses. They were plumbers. They were electricians. They were this. They were that. I want that guy as an inspector for my properties. Otherwise, it's cumulative list. That's it. I found an inspector to do the inspection this time that was humble enough to say, listen, all the guys in the trades, if they've got either a journeyman or a master's, they know a lot more than I do about this stuff. So I would defer to them. But I know what I need to know in order to say, hey, you should talk to this guy for this reason. But I call out the specific reason. I said, that's all I'm asking for. If you're going to say refer to an expert, what are you referring to the expert? What is it that you don't know that person needs to check on with that expert? Because here's the thing. There were some scummy other contractors in our area, and they gave the person a quote for $17,000 for work that doesn't need to be done. Do you know why I know it doesn't need to be done? 2 separate plumbers have looked at it, and 2 separate plumbers have said, I absolutely would not be changing the system. They don't know what they're talking about. You are literally replacing a system that's got at least 8 to 10 years on it, if not 15. Just keep it clean and you should be good. This is the stuff I'm talking about, guys. Let's see. Ling Tang. Nice to see you. Good evening. Let's see. Just fine. Hey, Matt, I just cleared my lot. Oh, yeah, cool. I've spoken about you in the Lakes region. It looks like my neighbor has a shed and other property on my land. I paid for a survey to be done in the coming weeks. That's awesome. When you get that survey, what you need to do is you need to send if it's found that it's on your property, the first thing that you do is just send a registered letter to your neighbor and just say, hey, and be humble about it. Hey, I'm not sure if you knew, but we actually just got the land surveyed and it shows that these couple things are on our property. I would like to just understand and work with you to make a plan to get them moved off of the property. Humble, kind, reasonable. If they come back guns blazing, then you just report them to town. You just go, hey, this guy's on my land. He's trespassing. These things don't belong on my land. And, based on the survey, this. And then you have the town try that option first. And if that doesn't work, then you have a lawyer send a letter. That's the next step. Oh, nice. I was hoping there was a little bit left in that. I was thirsty. Robert Finley, got some questions for you because Home Depot has some crazy sales going on right now. Okay. Jack Stewart, I hate when people say it's lucky. It's not luck. It's just a lot of hard work. Yes. Blood, sweat, and beers. For some of us. Blood and sweat, yes. No beers. What I'm lucky about is that I have Cynthia and found this community. I completely agree. My wife wasn't there for the first 5 or 6 that I bought, but she was there after. And even if it was just her in the beginning, it was just like, listen, I don't need you to participate. I just need you to not give me a hard time about the fact that I'm spending money building a future. She was great about that. And then I was like, hey, listen, this is getting bigger and you don't have to go to work anymore, but I need your help with this stuff. And I trust you to do this instead of just some third party. And quite frankly, it's a lot more expensive if we have a third party do it, and they're not going to care nearly as much about the result as we are. So that's what I ended up doing. That's the way we did it. Better Home Rental. Tenants are customers. That's true. You just have to fire your customer. Yeah, I mean, yeah, customers I agree with. Yeah, employees no, but customers yes. That I agree with. Yep. Yeah, and I have zero problem firing a customer. When they try the old, I just would like it if we could get on the same page. No, we aren't on the same page because you refuse to get on my page. Well, I'm looking for some compromise. I'm not compromising this. The rules are finite. This is what's happening. And if you don't like it, you can find another place to live or I can evict you. Are we clear? Good. Now, thankfully, I don't have to very often have that conversation. Very often it's a conversation where it's like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be difficult, but that's not what we agreed to in the lease. It's not covered. You cannot do it. Now, when somebody's like, oh, hey, I want to move my girlfriend in, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sure. But there's got to be an added cost to that, right? There's got to be an added cost. She's coming from an apartment that's $1,000 a month. I'm going to ask you to pay an extra $250 because that covers all of my additional expenses. Then it covers more wear and tear, water, sewer. If I'm paying for your heat, that includes all of these things, you know? And it's like, well, I don't think that's reasonable. Well, then she can't move in. And if I find that she's been there 7 out of 30 days, guess what? Guess what? Bye-bye. I'll evict you. I'll cite you for breaking the lease. Robert Farinelli, 1 GE dishwasher looking at a 45 dBA washer. Is that quiet enough? Yeah, that's plenty quiet. Yep. Any other thing I should think of, look at? They have the new plastic everything on the inside. I don't know. I don't have enough experience with it to tell you if that's a good thing. I still like my stainless steel tub. That's what I still prefer. Stainless steel tub, and then ideally, if I can get like that third rack on the top, that for laying down cutlery or things like that, like that's all a good thing. Or baby bottles. That's a nice thing. Text Stewart, wealth building journey. I heard that term from Mary Emanuel, a Baptist priest of an Orthodox church. Very interesting. Wealth with rentals. I was listening the other day. I heard that you allow only toilet paper to be flushed in your toilets. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. I mean, the other stuff can go beep and boop boop, but nothing else. Angel R. I had to turn over 3 units this year, which cost me $21,000, leaving me with only $12,000 in net profit for the year. How did you stay positive during years when you were barely breaking even? Because you are in your first 5 years. Am I right? Relatively speaking, if it remains well, I shouldn't have to touch those units for a good 2 to 5 years. Exactly. So the way that I would look at this, Angel, is that this is the price of admission. This is why when people are like, education, figure it out, that's why I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Guys, my course is $1,000. That's it. That is 20 years of experience you're getting for $1,000. I don't pump the course all the time. I'm not like, buy my course and I'll fix the world's problems. No, but if you're a landlord, it will start you years ahead of where you are with tons of experience, more than what you have today. And in all likelihood, guys, watch the testimonials. Look at them. Well, look at what people will put in the chat. I know Wealth Building Journey's taken the course like 5 times. I know Dylan McMahon's taken the course 4 times. I know that people, I get emails every single week with somebody saying, hey, listen, just this one thing, my units are rented and my friend's units aren't rented. The ad was awesome. You know, or I had to get a handyman there to fix something. And because I documented my unit, I was able to send him, this is exactly what it is. And it took him 30 minutes instead of 3 hours back and forth to the supply stores and all this other stuff. You know, this is the type of stuff. It's these little things. These little riches are in the niches. And that's what I spend my time on. I wanted to unearth those niches for you guys because there are riches there. And that's where the differentiator is. So what I would tell you is that you're exactly right, Angel. If you did the units right, you did them the right way, you upgraded them the right way, you updated them the right way, you're probably good for more than 2 years. You're probably good for 5 to 7, maybe even 10. And what does that then mean? It means higher rents. It means hopefully you got better tenants. And more importantly is you learn the lesson of, hey, here were some mistakes that I might have made, and here's how I can write an ad better. Here's how I can be a better property manager. Here's how I can do these things. So there's always a lesson to be learned in all of this stuff. And a lot of times you can just be like, yeah, you know what? Like, it's almost inevitable when you bend over backwards to help a tenant get into a place. It's almost inevitable they're going to screw you over. It is. It just is. It's the way it goes. Yeah, it's the way it goes. What is that noise? I don't know what it is. Sound of silence. Anyway. Let's see. Crimson, Robert Farinelli. I know it's not required to vent, but would you recommend a vented one that circulates air with the filter? And again, anything else you look out for? Not really sure if any of ours are vented. They might be. What we always make sure that we have on the sink line that drain then gets tied into is a Studer vent. You can look up a Studer vent. Jason Santoro. Hey, Jason. I currently invest in small multi. I know. I have 4 duplexes and closing on my 5th in January. Congratulations. I know nothing about commercial. Where would you recommend I start? So I've done plenty of commercial stuff. I think the thing that you need to understand about commercial is debt. Debt is very, very, very different on commercial. Cash flow is different. Building codes are different. Responsibilities are different. It depends on what kind of commercial you mean. If you mean commercial residential because the units are building, but they're still resi, there's new rules, sprinkler systems and safety systems and exit signs and all that stuff still applies. So that's the stuff that I would be cautious of. Jack Stewart, I'm imagining that scene from imagining that scene from SpongeBob where Mr. Krabs hires Patrick just so he can fire him, except it's Matt and the home inspector. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to fire this guy. I mean, I might fire this guy. We might get 10 minutes into tomorrow and he might be a total lunkhead. But I spent a half an hour on the phone interviewing him. I don't want to send people in blind. And he's like, are you using this report to take the other people to court? I am not. Nope. I just want a fair and honest assessment. And if there's things that you put in there that I disagree with, I want to just be able to have the conversation with you about it because you might not understand or know, number one. Number two is I want you to take something off if I perform the work. That's it. And I said, and just give me a few days to perform the work. That way, if I see some things on there, I might just want to take care of them. He's like, yeah, because then that no longer exists. Now I might go back out. He's like, I will need to go back out and verify that that's what happened. And I said, and you might charge me a fee, like some sort of a fee for that? He goes, yeah. I said, but not a full inspection? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, fair. Reasonable. Hold on 1 second. I got to find out what this noise is. I got to make sure I see if it's the pounding rain. That's what it was. That's what it was. It was the pounding rain. Sorry, I had to see that. I just kept on hearing that. I want to make sure it wasn't my kids that were awake. Let's see. Wealthy rentals. If the bank looks at rent and not what you give tenants as concessions, what if the property sits vacant for 2 months before rented? Do they care, and how do you explain it? Yeah, you tell them that it was vacant. Yep, you absolutely have to. That's what we do. That's what we do. When we have vacancies, we just report zero rental income. But it's that way on the taxes too. I don't want to pay taxes on income I didn't receive. But that's where they run that calculation of they'll give you, 10% maintenance costs, 8% management fee, and 5% for vacancy. That's the way banks have it in their spreadsheets. They bake that stuff in. Let's see, Eddie B. Truck and Matt. I'm thinking of picking up the Rigid 115 Pro Press tool. Do you have any experience with this tool? $1,400 for the kit. My preference. So if Rigid makes a really nice tool, I don't buy the brand new ones. I buy a used one. I bought my used Milwaukee. The Milwaukee comes with, what is it? 3/8, half, 3/4, and 1 inch. And you can usually buy that thing used for a little over $1,000, like probably around the same price. And usually the Rigid will not come with the 1 inch one. They usually won't come with the 1 inch press. And that extra set of clamp, that extra clamp, can be $200 or $300 about. So Rigid makes good product there. My experience has all been with Milwaukee, and mine's never let us down. And we've done a lot of work with ours. A lot. It's been, it's awesome. It's really awesome. Like we can fix a leak in 3 minutes. Like it's awesome. That's why we put the extra shutoffs down in the basement. We'll actually shut the water off and we'll pro press in some quarter turn ball valves. And that way, when we show up for an emergency, boom, we're there. We shut that thing off. We can literally cut the pipe and, put in a piece with 2 couplings, straight couplings on each end, and we're good. So yeah, I love the Pro Press tool. I think personally, if you're self-managing, you will not find a tool that's more valuable if you live in a cold area. That's what I believe. Jack Stewart. Oh man, whoever brought up home inspections got Matt fired up for a second time. Yeah, true story. It was Wealth with Rentals, but that's okay. I don't mind. Last one, fridge with the minimum cubic feet for a college rental. It's not so much about a college rental or not a college rental. It's more how many students are in the unit. So for me, I find that a pretty fair rule of thumb is I want about seven cubic feet for everyone that's in there. Yeah. And then it's not a science. It's more just kind of what I've recognized about our spaces. We'll go with one of those big, huge 28 or 30s when we have 4 or 5 kids in a place. When we have, 3 kids in a place, we'll go with a 21 to a 24, something like that. If it's only a couple of college kids, we'll still be an 18, still typically be an 18 cubic foot. Yep. Hey, Hyder. What's up, pal? We can't restart now. 38 minutes had passed. Now 48 minutes had passed. Dub, hey, good to see you. There is an aspect of luck to success. There isn't. The key is setting up all the other dominoes to give you the chance to set them up to be successful. Yeah, so I can tell you that every single aspect of life was against me. I was a 9th grade dropout. I had to work twice as hard as everybody else. There was no luck to it. There was zero luck. Wasn't luck. I believe that people make the breaks that they get in a lot of cases. I really do. I really think that you continue to hustle, you continue to work. Now, you might not be doing the right things, and that's what then your hard work doesn't get rewarded. But yeah, I disagree. I don't really think that there's a whole lot of luck there. I just don't. Divine blessing, maybe, but not luck. And I don't call that luck. Let's see. Eddie, yes, sir. Yes, seller like to see an official report from inspectors to give to inspectors to think of giving concessions from what comes out of the report. At least that is what I think. I just disagree. I think that you're far better off having a little piece of paper that you actually have the different folks provide. The problem is that if you're subject to an inspector blowing up your deal, like just that blew up mine. That deal blew up my deal. They came back and they wanted a $20,000 credit, and I said 0. And they're like, "You're not going to give us anything?" Nope, 0, because your stupid report is useless. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's flat out wrong. Yep, true story. It's wrong. I would much rather be presenting a seller with, here are 4 experts. Here's a plumber. Here's an electrician. Here's a roofer. Here's a construction guy. Okay. Here's these 4 guys. I got them to show up, take a look at what they needed to take a look at. I paid for an hour of each of their time. And they wrote a brief report of, hey, if this were my house, this is what I would do. That's far more valuable in my eyes. Because at the end of the day, I don't want some stupid inspector who doesn't know what they're doing, who has a certificate and no background in construction, no background in electrical, no background in plumbing and heating, no background in how a one-pipe steam system works, no idea that there's a chamber in some, no idea what the HVAC, I mean, they just have no idea. They don't know. They're not allowed to open up those systems and actually go exploring because they don't have the license. I want pros. And so that way, if one of my guys goes in, like an electrician, he goes, yeah, generally speaking, like everything's fine. If it were me, I'd make these couple of adjustments. Quite frankly, I can make those adjustments for you in 5 to 7 hours, so it's going to be $1,000 to do that. That carries far more weight than some, and usually the time. When you get an inspection, you might have 10 days of due diligence. That inspector might be there on the 7th or 8th day. You have to then quickly decide, do I want to go all in or all out or ask for an extension and then get other experts in that are trying to sell me something? I want the guys that are trying to sell me something to do the inspection. Why? Why would I want those guys doing the inspection? Because they're going to be like, yeah, I mean, you don't have to do this, but I would do it. Or, geez, Matt, you know what? I would really do that. That's going to be an expensive thing. I want the guys that I'm going to have do the work literally give me an active quote. They're going to look at it and they're going to go, yeah, geez, probably, like $2,000. Or no, I wouldn't replace that system, but I would replace the drain spout on it. I would replace the pigtail. I'd put an expansion tank on there. Okay, cool. What's that going to run me? A couple grand. Then I can actually take real things. Like, what are you trying to do? Get out of the deal or just negotiate a better price? I want to buy the asset. I want to respect the seller and I want to respect the asset. So I'm going to give them real numbers and real problems and real issues, not something that some jackwagon inspector. You know how many jackwagon inspectors blow up deals because they don't know what they're talking about? I know of one that just happened in the last 3 days. That's why I use experts, because I want to know the number and I want to know really actually how severe the problem actually is. That's what I really want to know. Jack Stewart, all-nighter hider. You better make videos of Burger Barge. Yeah, I'm excited for you about that. That's cool. The course has made me so confident talking to handymen. Trade better. I'm glad to hear that. That's what we want. We want to demystify this stuff. We don't want everyone going, but I don't know anything about that. Yeah, I know. There's no excuse not to, though. And you can go search for dozens of hours watching dozens of videos and trying to figure it out, or you can consolidate it all into about 9.5 hours. And pretty much everything I could think of is going to be in that. And more importantly is once you're there, you're in the community, you can ask others what's going on. That's what the value is. I'm working, Jack Stewart. I'm working through the course a third time all the way through. I like to go back and re-listen to certain sections of whatever project or thing I'm working on next. Guys, that's the perfect use of it. That's what I wanted there for you. An extension of you. That's what I want. I love to hear that, Jack. Thank you. Jason Santoro, I finished the course recently. You'll easily make your $1,000 back and many times over. This is a great investment, no doubt. Jason Santoro, I appreciate you. Guys, this is what I want for you. I didn't want to do a course. I fought people on doing a course. And then I was constantly getting asked, help me. And I don't like doing the one-on-one consulting. I don't like doing it. I don't. I'd rather help you guys here. But I want to give you all the tools that you need, all the tools that I wished I had. That 9.5 hours, there is no doubt in my mind, if you buy a single rental property, that it will pay you back multiple times over. There's no doubt in my mind. Whether it's the ad writing, unless you're an ad exec like I was, whether you're an ad writer, or whether you're a handyman yourself. And even if you are, you might know this aspect, but not this aspect. How to work with code enforcement, how to work with cities, how to work with Section 8. That's actually the new module that we're going to add in there. We're trying to get a Section 8 person on board to do that. So that's what we want to do. Jack Stewart, when you bend over for a tenant, they will surely shove something up there. Sadly, that's true often. All-nighter hider. I'll pump the course. Pump it up. I second pumping the course. Dub. Appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Guys, that's what I count on. I count on these people telling me it's valuable or telling me it wasn't valuable. We're into the boot camp. We're week 8. We're going into week 9 this week. So we've got week 9 this week. Through week 8, we should have only done 16 hours of classes. We've already done 23 hours of classes. 8 hours more than expected. 7 hours more than expected. Sorry, math was bad. 7 hours more than expected because I want to make sure when we're in these classes that we're finishing what you guys need to get answered. That's the purpose of the boot camp. We are going to be announcing a new boot camp in Q1 start, and it will finish in early Q2. But we are going to be announcing that. We're again limiting it to only 15, and so keep your eyes peeled because we're excited to do that. Again, we're excited to do another one. Cue the B-roll. I know, right? What I'm looking at is a 400 CFM vent. Like I said, I've never looked at venting on the dishwashers. Never looked at venting on them. All-nighter. A Studer vent is a below-the-counter alternative to an above-the-counter air gap for dishwashers and the like. Yes, sir. So what we like about the Studer vents is that they are there. They're compact. They don't have to go into a big stack. You can just literally, it's just really, you create this basically upside laying flat on its back L. You put that thing on top and it gives you the air. It basically what it does is it allows you to not get stuck in a vacuum with your water. Master Coach University, dishwashers. My tenant had a dishwasher break and the appliance service told us it was due to roach infestation. They reinfested the unit and wrecked the appliance with bugs. They will pay. I would hope they would pay. Sorry to hear that, Master Coach, but that's just wrong, man. Stick that bill on them. That is theirs to own. Lim Tang, REI, your course worth a lot more for sure. I thank you for saying that's very kind to you. I'm in your boot camp right now. Yes, I know. You're amazing and so knowledgeable. Your course is a real deal. AKA Lynn. I know who that was. You ask great questions, guys. When you bring me problems, I likely have been through it before. I want to bring the solution. I love doing boot camps with people. Frankly, I should stop them at 2 hours just because it's way too much information. But I want to keep on going and answering your guys' questions. I do. I want to be able to do that, and because I know that everybody gets that. Angel R. The moment a tenant says it was divine will for them to have the unit, take the hint. God wants you to run. That is true. That is true. Angel R. My tenants are grateful, thankfully. Yes, I'm in the course. Well worth it for anyone on the fence. Angel R., I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Guys, that's a ringing endorsement for me. I want people that are in it to tell me, did it suck? What's the next thing you want? So we did a course. We're actually following up with people that participated in our live event. We're following up with people to ask them, what's the next thing that you want to learn about? Guys, that's expensive for us. That's expensive for us to do that. But we want people reaching out, and we want it to not just be an email. We want it to be a text message. We want it to be a phone call. Hey, we'd like to understand, what you're looking at. What's the most valuable thing to you? This is not a telemarketing call. This is really trying to get value from you so we can give value to you. I'm paying for this. I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not, but I'm still doing it because I was like, I want people to tell me. Robert Fernelli, luck isn't a thing. There is a probabilistic to outcomes, which you can do things to increase the probability of an outcome. Yes, new thing because Mike, Matt, and Dion don't like the word luck. Yes, true. Yeah, probabilistic, yes. Crimson Knight, 3 college students, but I am looking at a very deep discount. Yeah, then I would go for it. If it fits okay, yeah, less than the other ones that are 21, yeah, I would go with a 27 as long as it's not too big for the space. Hell yeah, I'd do that. Eddie B. Truckin, my inspector was previously an electrician and is an investor himself. Love that. Eddie, that's the perfect fit for an inspector. Kudos to you. You did the right work. You hunted and you hired the right guy. We have plenty of jackwagon inspectors in my area. I searched and interviewed for a great one. Guys, what Eddie just said right there is pure stinking gold. That's pure gold. Why are we taking easy recommendations from moron agents? Guys, I'm working with an agent right now on a deal. She is an absolute imbecile. She doesn't know the square footage. She doesn't know this. It's a commercial property. There's multiple units in the property. She doesn't know the breakdown. She doesn't know the breakdown of square footage. She doesn't know about what the tenants are paying, price per square foot. None of these things. And I'm like, how are you the agent? My shoe knows more about this place. Anyway, I digress. Angel R. I have the rigid RP 115, highly recommend, but it only comes with a 3/4 and a half, but good enough for my needs. Any bigger is typically commercial. That's exactly right. Yeah, like I said, the Ridge is a decent product. I just like getting the used Milwaukee because I got the both sides of that 3/4 and half. I got the both sides of that. Being able to get that 3/8, you never know when you're going to find it, and it's tough. You know, then you go there to expecting to fix that problem very quickly, and you can't. Same thing with the 1-inch. You know, the 1-inch, think about it this way. The 1-inch very often can be like the pipe that's coming off of your steam boiler. That could be the pipe that's coming off of your hot water tank. That's where, for me, I like to make sure that I have that ability to do it. And again, to buy those extra jaws, they're really expensive. So I like to find that Milwaukee deal where there's all 4 of them in there. And then I believe also in that one, you can also get the PEX version of it, where you can buy the PEX teeth for it. So like I said, I'm more a Milwaukee guy, but the Rigid does have a good product. Jack Stewart, for those that are second guessing if they should do the course or not, along with boot camp, it saved me $20K in one project, just one. Imagine the future. Jack Stewart, I really appreciate that, guys. This is the way it is. I'm a lead at what I do. I can say there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that if you take the 9.5 hours that I teach, that you will absolutely save that amount of money back over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, unless you plan on never having to rent your units again. Hey guys, Dion had me write his ads for him. And you know what he complained about? It's true, Dion. It's true, Dion. Yep, it's true, Dion. You know what he complained about? Dion complained about too many responses to my ads. He's like, it was ridiculous. I had too many responses. Sucked. I didn't want to have to go through that many people. I do. I want the perfect tenant. And I don't just want the perfect tenant that can pay me. I don't want the perfect tenant that can pay me market or just under market. I want the perfect tenant that's going to pay me over market because they really love the place and they have no intention of being gone anytime soon. We have this one couple that moved in 4 years ago, and they're like, hey, we're just here for a year. I was like, oh, that's too bad. But yeah, I'm happy to, they were a lovely couple, really nice people. And I was like, oh, that's too bad. And then they were like, yeah, actually, after we were here for the year, yeah, we just decided to stay and kind of see what we have for ourselves here. They just re-signed their 4th renewal. Four. Let's just put this in perspective. When they first started renting from me, it was $16.95 a month. $16.95 a month. So a year was just over $20,000. Well, their rent's all the way up to about $1,900 now, but let's just get crazy and go 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. And we know it's higher. They've paid me $100,000. $100,000 for one of my 2 bedrooms for 5 years. Imagine. Why did they stay? They're like, we love the location, but we also love the finishes. We've looked out and seen what else is out there in the market. And quite frankly, we'd have to move. It would largely be a downgrade and it would be probably about the same money. So we like staying. 5 years, $100,000 for a 2-bedroom. How many 2-bedrooms do you have? Right? Now we're talking real money. Eddie B. Truckin, I have some capital expenses coming soon, but I fully plan to take the course as soon as I can. Eddie, we'll love to have you no matter what. Whenever. I never push people to get in the course right now, and if you don't do it right now, no. Nope. I would love to have anybody in the course that's serious about becoming a better landlord. Would love to have you. Would love to have you. Would love to have you in the boot camp too. I know it'll make an impact in your life. Let's see. Crimson. Robert Fernelli, missed my comment. I was talking about microwave vent versus fan. So what I like about the microwave, I like the front vented ones. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know, Robert. I like the front vented ones. They basically have the suction is through the bottom of the microwave and it pulls it through a front vent that like sits that far proud of the top of a cabinet above it. I love those. I want that air sucked right up through. and very good. Very, very good. I like that particular microwave, and almost everybody makes them. I would just stick with a GE, or I would stick with a Maytag, or a Maytag Gold, I think is what they call it. Yeah, I love those brands. Those are both really good. Kadia 14, I finally took the plunge and bought the course to cram for my rehab. Already taken some great notes, and I'm updating my RFP. That is awesome. Kadia, I'm so happy that you took the course. I'm so happy. That's great. I love that. Boot camps are awesome, Robert Farinelli. I get a lot out of it by showing live demos. Matt taught how to get a variance using a property I'm trying to buy as an example. So much great info. Robert Farinelli, I greatly appreciate that. Robert, is it your third boot camp? We've only done 4. I think it's your third. I think Culp's taken a couple, maybe 2 or maybe 3. Phil Nealon's taken a couple. Old REI guy. I mean, there's a bunch of people that have taken it multiple times, the boot camp. I love seeing you guys in the boot camp again. And here's the thing. If they're taking it a second time, why? Because it was so valuable to them the first time. That's the ultimate compliment. It wasn't just one wasn't good enough. They took it twice. I love it. Or 3 times. Trade better. What are your thoughts on small multis that are all 1 bed, 1 bath? I'm buying one right now. I have had 4plex sent to me, but I feel this is too niche of a property. Here's what you do. Call Section 8. Ask them how many 1 bed vouchers they have, number 1. Number 2 is... Guys, I've taught you this. I'm not coming down on you, Trade Better. I'm not coming down on you individually, but I've taught you guys how to do this. Take an ad and say, coming soon. Write your ad like you've been taught in the course. Write your ad that way. Post that thing and see what responses you get. See what responses you get. You can run an ad like that saying coming soon because it may or may not come. But write it, coming soon. 1-bedroom apartment, and write all the details. Don't give the address, but just like I teach you guys how to write your ads, I'm not going to cover it now because I spent a half an hour in the course covering exactly what you write in your ad. But look at that ad. Write that ad, coming soon. And then see what you're getting for responses. If you get 2 or 3 in a week, I probably would agree with you. It might not be the right thing, but I would still talk to Section 8. If you get 30, Eureka. And figure out what the price needs to be. You need to be rent boxing it. You should be rent boxing any property before you buy it. Like that goes without saying, right, guys? Like if you're in the course, you should be building a rent box before you buy something so you actually know what you're going to get for rents. That's the sole determining factor on whether or not I buy a property. It's not my buy box. It's not what the cost of my mortgage is. I have to know what it's going to rent for so I can then figure out what all those other things need to be. Because maybe I can get seller financing at 5% or 3%, and maybe I can pay a little bit more money for the property. Who knows? All these things are variables. The thing that I have to know and really understand is what is the amount of demand for this type of an asset or unit, and what exactly does it rent for, and how do I compare to those other things? That's the biggest thing. Oscar, have to go. And your information is A1 quality. Also, everyone that listens to you on your chats, thank you, sir. Oscar, have a good evening. I appreciate that. Jason Calasavetta, so much knowledge in the course and boot camp. Can't thank you enough. I really appreciate that, Jason. You guys always bring good questions. And you know why I know they're good questions? Because they're coming from you guys actually doing work. When you're doing work and you ask a question about that, I love answering your question for you or workshopping it. We workshop some stuff. Sometimes I have to ask follow-up questions. I love that about you guys. I really do. It makes my game better. It makes me better because then I can say, oh, yeah, I heard this or I had this experience. Makes me better, and I appreciate you guys for that. Jack Stewart, I'm thinking about taking one next year. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, the next boot camp, we don't have the official dates yet, but it's going to start somewhere in January. It'll take a week off when we're in Vegas, when Ashley and I are in Vegas speaking. And then we'll pick back up again and then carry through. So yeah, I'm very excited to do the next one. TB99, too niche for the area or your experience? That's a good question, but I would think more he's thinking the area. Robert Farinelli, all my appliances are going to be GE. I'm hoping more appliances you own of a brand, the better support you'll get. Yes, that's true, but a lot of times when you're calling in, you're giving them a model number. What's better is where you're buying those appliances. That's why I don't love Best Buy. Best Buy's appliance support sucks. Their returns suck. Dealing with them as a company sucks. I like working with local, and that's based on experience. So don't sue me, bro, but I can give you actual experience in the things that I listen to, right? So what I actually like to do is I like to use local people. I like to use local shops that have been around for a long time and ask them if they do price match, and then get them to do the price match as long as it's an advertised price, because they're going to provide better service. And if not, they are in the community, of the community, for the community. They're not Best Buy. They're not some big chain store like Home Depot. Home Depot's response sucks too. I used to buy a bunch of appliances through them. That was horrible. Absolutely horrible. What a garbage experience. So the only thing that I buy from Home Depot now, largely speaking, when I have to get an appliance because the other place doesn't have the one that I want, guess what ends up happening? I will only buy something if it's on their discount row. I will not buy something full retail from them. I will not, because I need to get a better deal on it, because I know I'm going to have a problem in some way, shape, or form. Kadia, I will bid my rehab to a GC for labor only and have them generate the list of materials for my approval, and I pay for it. However, do I make them separate labor and materials for the subs, or one price? No, I definitely want to. So you need to understand what they're buying materials for if you really want to fine tooth this thing. So we just had subs that did the dormer. You got second dormer. You guys haven't? No, I put the second dormer on Instagram. Instagram Lumberjack Landlord. Check it out. I put the dormer on there. They did that in 3 days. So having done that project in 3 days, we actually got a 4th bedroom out of that unit. Section 8 is going to pay us $700 a month more than the $300 standard. Love it. The dormer was $3,900. But I want the breakdown. So we actually say to them, we will happily. So what's your hourly rate? They say it's $50 or $75, right? And we say, put together a list of all the materials that you need, and we will go pick that up for you, and we will make sure that it's here for you. I don't want to pay them $75 an hour to shop. I don't want to pay them $75 an hour to pick it up. I can have it delivered from the lumberyard, usually for $65 without issue. I just had a $12,000 window order delivered. You know how much it cost me? Zero. Cost me no dollars. I just said to him, I go, hey, listen, I said, I got this order. I got 2 others behind it. Listen, anyway, I don't beat you up on the price of the window, but is there any way that you can just take care of me on the delivery? He goes, oh yeah, sure. No problem. Zeroes out the delivery charge. $65. Penny saved is a penny earned. That's $65 in all honesty. Tank of gas and probably a gas station hot dog and a big gulp drink. Just saying. And it was just for asking, but they're also quality vendors. There was a mistake on one of the windows. And he's like, what do you want me to do? And I go, I can't wait 2 weeks for another one. I go, I need you to send a trim kit. He goes, okay. Sends a trim kit. Boom. Done. Boom. Done. That's simple. Aloha from Hawaii. Hello, Markashiro. Good to see you. Eddie B. Truckin, the question we all need answered: what products do you use in that man main? Zero. Just shampoo. That's a good question. I see you got a nice beard there too, my friend. I see you're sporting a nice beard. I just trimmed it. I just trimmed it down. Took a few inches off. Yep. The problem is Home Depot is giving an extra $1,000 off when you buy 4 appliances. Yes. Try and have the other place match them. The other places have rebates too. They do. It's Black Friday. The Black Friday in most of these places ends the first week of December. I'm putting together a $30,000 appliance order. No word of a lie. $30,000 appliance order. Try and match. If they can't do it, they can't do it, but at least try it. You want to start that business with with local guys that you can call them up and go, hey, yeah, it's Robert. There is 0 people ever that you will ever be able to do that with at a big box store. Now, I did get into a department director. I got into a department director of appliances for one of the big box stores. That was the only time that they got a lot of my business. That was it. That was it. And because he's like, yep, return customer. Yep, you can use that coupon. Yep, you can do this. Cool. He had me. As soon as he left, I placed one more order, and it was so unbelievably messed up. I was just like, nope, not again. Then when I called to try and get it fixed, run around. Nope, I don't have time for that. Nope, I need to send an email. Hider, talk to a manager. Everything is negotiable. Yeah, a lot of the times these small owners, they're just like, maybe they can touch that number. Maybe they can't. Maybe they actually tell you and they go, hey, listen, so you can buy that one from the big box. But let me just tell you, that actually comes with a plastic impeller and a plastic this. And those are going to be your fail points on that. So while I might be able to, I can't match the price, you're getting an inferior product. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. It happens all of the time. They use inferior parts in some of these things. And they get a special run for that special distributor or for that special big box. That actually happens far more often than you would know. True story. Yeah, true story. Did you ever buy from Barron's? Yes, I did buy from Barron's. Seems to be a small chain in Manchester and Nashua. Yeah, I did buy from Barron's before. I had a good experience with them. When we had properties there in Manchester, they were a good fit for us. Now I want to say that's their closest one. So it's just too far now. There might be one a little bit closer, but we fell in love with one that's right by us. He honors the pricing. He honors the delivery guy that we send to go grab stuff. He lets us know when he has scratch and dent stuff that's scratch and dented on the side. So he discounts it. So we get some really nice scratch and dent. So yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Hyder says he'll never give his business again, ever. I love that. RE Travel, like the name. Welcome to the channel if you're new to the channel, because I don't know who you are, but welcome. What are your thoughts on Shawami? It's a service that allows you. Nope. So what we teach in the class, and I'll just give you, you don't need to sign up for the course, but I want to tell you what we teach in class. What we teach in the class is looking at Facebook, looking at the other people that are doing rentals in those areas. Call them up and ask them what they would charge. You need to be going to that area and interviewing a bunch of agents, because you know what? Every single year their dues come due. Those dues are due right around, I think it's now, like December maybe. I think their dues are in December. I can tell you that to get access to MLS, if you're paying those dues, it's like $1,500. If you close 0 houses this year, are you paying $1,500? If you closed 1 house this year, are you paying $1,500? If you just had your license for convenience, are you paying $1,500? Maybe, maybe not. So if you can tell them, hey, listen, I'm happy to pay you X amount of dollars an hour. I will write the ad, because if you've taken my course, you're going to write a much better ad. I will provide the pictures if you don't want to provide the pictures. It's always nice to spend $150 or $200 and get professional pictures of your unit that then can be shown every single time you post your unit. That's a good thing. You can get the iPhone ones, but I think when you professionally do pictures, it shows better. And you get a lot more people that are like, ooh, that place really stands out. Yeah, it does, because I had a professional picture done. But then I would interview those people and figure out what that number is and just say, I write the ad, I pay for the pictures. The only thing that I'm going to ask you to do is you post it under your profile. You qualify them based on the criteria that I have. If you ever get confused or concerned about one part or another, let me know and we can talk through it. But I will pay you for all the time that you spend responding to these tenants and setting up showings. We want you to post it on Thursday. We want you to do an open house on Saturday. We want it to be at this time. We want it to be this long. Have those conversations with them. If they're a super busy agent, they're not going to be interested. But quite frankly, you don't want them either. You don't want them either. You want somebody that says, hey, listen, this guy, and what you need to be able, and this guy is like the guy, right? So you want to be telling them what exactly your plans are. Yeah, I plan on buying multiple properties, and hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, I've got between 8 and 15 units. And you can say, and I'd like to grow together with you on that. And then basically just feed it to you and go, hey, here's the pictures and here's the write-up for this unit. It's coming available in 24 days. Let me know. Here's the tenant's contact info, and you can set up an open house and showing and blah, blah, blah. I have multiple agents that have worked for me. Some have done it for, everybody thinks, oh, it's a month's rent. I will not pay that much. No way. No way. And I tell them, I pay you by the hour. Here's why. If for some reason I get a phone call from a tenant, a new tenant or an old tenant, and they're looking for a new place, and I decide to put them in that place because their friend wants to move to their place, happens all the time. It really does. I don't like the agent to get zero. So I tell them, I don't want you to pay for pictures. I don't want you to pay to write a professional ad. I don't want you to have to do any of that stuff. The only thing I need you to do is qualify the tenants based on this criteria and be there for a showing. That's it. That's what I want you to do. And for that, I'm going to pay you by the hour. And the reason I want to pay you by the hour is because if I decide to take it off market, if I decide to, or if the price was way too low and you spent 5 hours on it and you're like, well, that kind of sucked. Right. But you only spent 5 hours on it. Like, that's the key. I just want to pay you based on the amount of time that you spent on something. I can tell you the price on average for us to rent out a unit, and we have units that range from between 11. What's our cheapest unit right now? Or it's over $1,000, but we're between $1,000 and $3,500 a unit. And typically we're renting units out for $400 to $500. This is why I want you to take the course. That's the kind of stuff I teach you, how to save all that money. So, RE Travel, thanks for the question. Glad you're here. Hope you were still here to hear the response. Yeah, it was only 10 minutes ago. You should be. Special runs are a way to financially engineer margin. Oh, absolutely. Hyder knows it. We're all tool users. We can tell if you buy one from a lumberyard or if you buy one from a big box. They make them differently. I have a drill that I bought from a lumberyard 12 years ago. Still runs like a top. Yep. Ivan Zaniga. Ivan, welcome back. Did you have cameras inside the unit when you rented out rooms in your... Oh, no. Inside the unit? No, that is a very, very, very slippery slope. No. No cameras inside units. Cameras outside at common areas. That's the extent of what we would do. And if you don't trust the students that much, I wouldn't rent to students. We've had no problem with our students. We have far more problems. You want to know what our number one demographic problem is? Not joking. In fact, give me 1 second. Let me see how many questions are. Okay, very solid. Thanks. All right, Travel, you're welcome. I appreciate you being here. All right, it's guessing time, kids. What is the worst tenant, the one that we have the worst track record with as far as evictions or complaints? What is the worst tenant that we have? Start putting your answers in below now while I get to these last couple questions. Does Section 8 cover utilities? They can. It depends on which payment standard you choose. Is the rental rate only for the unit and utilities are separate? It depends. The one that you see in FMR usually includes everything. But you can call Section 8 and say, we don't include hot water, we don't include heat, we don't include water sewer. What is the adjusted FMR based on taking these things out? Very often we take heat out because we get absolutely screwed when we leave heat in. They have no problem running up massive bills. Kadia, I expect the GC will do carpentry, flooring, etc., and will have them bid labor only. If, e.g., they sub plumbing, they'll have to sub plumbing because they don't have a plumbing license. It seems a GC to get the plumber to charge labor only, and I still buy material. You can do that, but you should be offering to pay for the plumber to put together a list of the things that he needs, because they'll put together fittings and things like that. You don't want to be buying fittings. What you want to be buying is the big stuff. You want to be buying the type of shower head and mixing valve that you want. You want to buy the type of faucets that you want. You want the type of toilets that you want. You want the type of vanities that you want. You want the type of kitchen sinks that you want. But the rest of it, like, I'm not buying PVC. I'm not buying, 12 compression fittings. I'm not buying 6 ball valves. I want the big stuff. I want the big stuff. I want the stuff that has taste that matters, so faucets, vanities, toilets, showers, shower mixing valves. That's the stuff that I really care about. The other stuff, not so much. So it looks like Barron's is doing $600 off 4 instead of 1,000. Let's see if I can get them down the extra 400. Look at what the cost basis is first, though. Just saying. If you compare model to model, are they $400 less expensive to start with? And that's why they're giving you 600. All of these guys get incented the same way. They all do. They all do. Section 8. Self-entitled tool bags. Well done, Jack Stewart. High-end professional. Section 8. Section 8. High credit score tenants. People named Karen. Trade better. Trade better. Well done. Jack wins. I know, Jack, that was a really good guess. Self-entitled tool bags. Yeah, it kind of goes without saying. People with lots of kids. Jason Calasavetta. They bring their partners over. Real guess is the unit that people's parents are paying for their kids to rent to go to school. LOL, TB99. Yeah, I know, right? That's funny. That's good, guys. Twin City, Bitcoin to the moon? Maybe. Possibly. Definitely going to come back too. So the number one worst tenant is single mom divorcees. If this is the place that they are moving out of their marital home to, they are an effing nightmare. They are an absolute effing nightmare. Consistently. I'm not making any judgments. I'm saying factually, our absolute worst tenants, there has never, ever, ever been one coming out of a divorce with a child that has ever not had to be evicted. Never. We are over and over like over 22 years. They always have to be evicted. Always. Dumpster fires with their money. I all of a sudden become the designated husband. Fix this for me. Fix this. No. Literally, somebody was like, I really want a nice little shelf set up. A shelf set up around the washer dryer. I said, yeah, we'll put some shelves in. So literally, we're going to put 3 shelves in. Just so she had a place to put stuff. And they were nice shelves. They weren't like wire junky shelves. They were nice shelves that we're going to make and just literally slide on posts. She sends me this thing from Etsy that's like $5,000 to build. I'm like, absolutely not. And big surprise, within 6 months, she was 2.5 months behind on rent and I evicted her. And she left the place trashed. That, yes, Karen, exactly, nailed it. Yep. Students are, you know what the really funny thing is? This is why we teach you guys to rent to students. Do you know why? They're my fewest problems. Yep. The fewest. They are resilient. They don't bitch about anything. They don't bitch about anything. They're awesome. Kadia, hurt people. Yeah. True story. Hurt people hurt your apartment. Kadia, okay, thanks. So you do a hybrid and then separate the visible stuff and have them do labor and materials for the other stuff then? Well, so it's not necessarily just the visible stuff. It's like, how much money am I going to save on a valve over what they're buying for a valve? A lot of times they have that stuff on their truck. So they're just charging you the rate of what something like that costs. So what I'm most concerned about is the big stuff. You know, valves, not a big stuff. Mixing valve for a shower head. Yeah, if I can buy online, if I can find like a guy going out of business that has 6 Kohler heads with mixing valves, I buy those because they're Kohlers and they might be $300 a set and I get them for $175 a set. Well, now I'm not paying $175 for some floppo brand. That's the key. So what I want it to be is I want it to be stuff that's of value. So if you think about the list that I gave you, water heater, expensive, $600-800. Vanity, $300 to $800 if you're buying a typical vanity. Toilet, $200-400 again. So if you're doing like, depending on how much you're doing around the shower, the surround or the tub itself, respraying the tub and then getting a tile surround. These are all areas that give you a lot more control over the project. But most importantly, if you want to go out there and shop, you can, I've done it a number of times and we save $5,000 to $10,000. $5,000 to $10,000 when we do a big rehab like that. because of the product that we're buying. You know, you can sign up for Wayfair Professional, which is what we do, and we get vanities that were $9.99 or $8.99, and we get them for $3.50 delivered. Really? $550? Like, guys, that's a no-brainer. Just a no-brainer. Students and young professional roommates also. Yep. Yeah, young professionals usually are okay. Sometimes they can be a little bit full of themselves, but yeah, not bad at all. Gonna go. I'm tired. Thanks for live. Steven, all good. Thanks for hanging out. Lin Tang, REI. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I don't share this to say anything mean to anybody, but it's true. Ivan Zaniga, I love the course. Will you be uploading more content soon? I'm a student myself, and renting to students would be great. Yes. So we have a section. So I'm working with the course, with the Mighty Networks administrators. I want to upload all the videos that we have, recordings of all of the boot camps without the minutes done on them, because I'm trying to find the right resource to do all the minutes. So yes, I want to have all of that stuff up in there. As far as new stuff that we're adding how to Section 8. We're going to take one of the boot camps that we did on the student housing piece and cut that and give that to you guys to finally deliver that to you, because I don't know what the issue was with the 3 different times I did that. And then the lead one's coming. The lead one is going to be extensive because I had to redact a bunch of data, which is really painful. It's very, very time consuming. It's just very time consuming. But I want to show you literally, here's how they notified me of the order. Here's the process that they took me to. Here's what the next step was. Here's what they said. Here's what they did. Here's what the next step in the process was. Then you have to go sign paperwork. Then you have to do this. And then here are your options. And here are the 3 things you need to ask them. Literally step by step, where you can hopefully avoid a lead order forever. I can tell you I've done 2. One of them cost me over $70,000. The other one cost me almost $90,000. Yep. Imagine that. Imagine that. That could bankrupt somebody. Just something to keep in mind. Let's see. I posted some questions in the modules. Will those be answered? Yeah. So other people, I like to leave time for the other people in the course to answer questions, but then I get in there. I don't get in there often when I'm doing a boot camp because of limited time. But when we're not doing a boot camp, I'm obviously in there. But a lot of times other students will answer those questions. But you can also certainly bring those things here as well. Yep. Not a problem. Not a problem. My worst tenants experience was with a recently divorced, broken up woman. Da-da! This is what I'm saying. It's exactly what I'm saying, Angel R. They are the worst. And I quickly become, oh, honey, can you? No. I'm married. I like her. We're still together after almost 20 years. And there's a reason why you're no longer married. Maybe he was a jerk. Maybe you were a jerk. I don't know either way. But here's what I can tell you. Light bulbs are yours. They're on you. And if you can't handle a light bulb, life is going to get a lot more difficult from here. Julie Anderson, knowing what your time is worth, what goals do you have at this point? 1, 5 years out. Oh my goodness, Julie, that's a really good question. What are my goals 1 or 5 years out? 1 year out is to be finished all of these massive projects and then not take on a massive project for a while. These are big projects, like the $1 million, $2 million, $5 projects. They're really big. They're a lot of work. They're not like the community house that I've got 13 hours into, and the reason why there's so much more work is because everything is such a big production. It's not one plumber, it's 6. It's not one heating guy, it's 5. It's not one electrician, it's 5. It's not one HVAC guy, it's 4. It's not one framer, it's 10. It's not 2 sheetrock guys, it's 14 or 15. It's just a lot more of everything, a lot more. And the numbers are so much bigger and it's a lot. So yeah, 1 year, I would say just be 100% finished with these, have all of those projects online, making money. Number 1, in 5 years. And then all my kids will be just a year older, which is fun. In 5 years, I don't know. Don't really have a goal in 5 years. Be alive, enjoy spending time with my wife, enjoy spending time with my kids. I'm interested to see what I do with the portfolio. It might expand, it might contract. Don't know. Don't know. I might do some sub-seller financing. Not really sure. It's a good question. Ivan, that's exciting. You're welcome. My pleasure. My best tenant are single men. Angel R. Preach. This is what I'm saying. My best tenants by far are single men as well. They just are. I know when I was a tenant, I lived there for 2 years. 2 years I lived there when I was a tenant, when I was renting an apartment. I lived there for 2 years, and when the lease renewed, or when it was due for renewal, I sent the guy an email. I said, let me know if you want me to sign a new lease. Otherwise, we can just go month to month. And he goes, nope, month to month's fine. I was like, okay, sounds good. That was it. That was the only time that I called him, other than to say, I'm giving you 30 days notice. I'm gonna pop out. I'm moving about an hour and a half away. Really appreciate all you did for me. Thanks so much. Yeah, that was it. I had contact with the guy after the day that I interviewed with him and signed on the contract. After that day, I didn't talk to him. I talked to him twice. On the day that I asked to renew the lease, and on the day that I told him I was leaving. That was it. Eddie B. Truckin', how far would you go with finishes for a Class C duplex? I would rent box it, Eddie, so I know you don't really know about this because you're not in the course. But what I would do is I would look, comparatively speaking, how you get an edge over the other stuff in your market that's for sale. So I would be cognizant of one of the things that people are always doing, right, is they're always looking and saying, hey, I can buy this next property. It makes me 9%. How much does investing in your existing unit get you for return? How much more rent do you get? We're doing one now, the one that has the dormer. We're going to be all in between plaster, dormer, new trim work. We're going to be probably 30,000, I would say, and floors. We're going to be 30,000 and electrical. We're going to be about 30,000 all in because it's a half of a duplex. So we're going to be about $30,000 all in, but I'm going from $1,250 a month and to somebody that I did to evict to $3,200 a month. So this property is going to pay me back at a rate of about 66%. 66% a year is my return on that capital. Now, once I get into year 2, I not only pay myself completely back for that rehab that I did, but after 18 months, I'm 100% return on that. 100%. And better yet is that when the lady next door moves out, she's only paying like 15. That place is going to go to 3,000 as well. I'm not rushing to push her out, but that place is going to go to 13 as well. Or 32 as well, not 14 or whatever, or 15, whatever she pays now. So that's going to be 1,700, and I can get probably the same amount of work done. It's probably going to cost me 30, 35 grand. So if I'm 30 or 35 grand into that, and I'm going to get an extra 15, I'll get an extra 18 a year. That's got a 2-year return on capital. What other deal am I doing? What other building am I buying that I'm going to get a 50% return on my money? 0 deals. But the best part is once you get the rent to that place, once you found that a unit that you can add that much value to, the return on capital is crazy off the charts. That's how you do it. Channel 6 San Diego. Hello, kids. Good to see you, Channel 6. Just in time for us to call it an evening. Guys, I appreciate y'all. It has been my youngest has a fever, and so I want to make sure I can spell mom tonight, that she doesn't have to do all the waking up. But I appreciate you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic week. Like I said, top of the show, stop, do the right thing. Don't be that landlord. Community is unity, like Jack said. But most importantly is golden rule. Treat others like you would like to be treated. And if you don't ever want somebody to drop a bad tenant on you because they paid cash for keys, don't do the same. Appreciate y'all. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And my boot campers, I will see you on Saturday for an action-packed boot camp. Take care, everybody. See you. Have a great night.